All right. We'll be getting started in the next 1 minute. So if you know someone that is meant to be on this call, a friend or a colleague that is not here yet, I think it's best you beep that person on their phone to like join this call because we're about to get started. And I guess and I know that tonight's session is going to be a long ride. It's the finale session, and it has a lot in store for each and every one of us. So in about a minute, we'll get started with the space. So Mr. Kingsley. Yes, I think the slides will be made ready. I think tonight or before the end. I think we'll be updated when the slides will be ready. We'll like upload everything all the slides in a Google Drive and make them available and send them as an email or send them to our community so you guys can have access to it, as well as the recordings of all the sessions. So please do exercise patience with us as we are trying to sort them and get them arranged so it can be easily accessed for every community member. Yeah, thank you so much. All right. Good evening, everyone. Once more. Yeah, it's a privilege to be amongst you all this evening, to be anchoring this space tonight. So, and then without further ado, without wasting much of our time, I think it's best I introduce our speaker for tonight. So we get started. Yeah, so and our speaker for tonight is a current Chevening scholar, pursuing an MSc program in medical imaging with management at Bournemouth University in the United Kingdom. He's a registered diagnostic medical sonographer from Ghana. Yeah. Then his professional journey, includes notable volunteering achievements in advancing access to diagnostic services and promoting high quality, accessible ultrasound care, especially in underserved rural communities. So as a fetal maternal health advocate that he is, he actively champions initiatives that ensure safe, reliable ultrasound services for maternal and fetal health towards SDG goals 3 and 4 and 9. So he is a fellow, yes, of the Millennium Campus Network, an initiative of the United Nations, which underscores his commitment to impactful health advocacy and global educational equity. So blending academic rigor with hands-on experiences, he continues to explore advancements in medical imaging, management, and patient-centered care, aiming to drive transformative change within healthcare delivery. So, and wonderful person, this wonderful person is he's a genius. I would say so. He's a genius, and I am so privileged and so honored, and I count it a pleasure to have him on our space tonight. And he's no other person than Mr. Wisdom S. Mensa. Mr. Wisdom, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Thank you for the
It's
wonderful introduction.
it's really a pleasure having you on our space tonight. We are so happy to have you amongst us to at least share a little bit or everything. Yeah, I want to say everything you know about Chevening scholarship and beyond Chevening scholarships as well. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's an honor as well. Um, I would say not so much is known about Chevening in terms of medical imaging within our profession. Very little people apply to the Chevening scholarship, and then very little of that quota that apply even are able to secure the scholarship. So
Yeah.
uh, I'm privileged to share what I know about the scholarship and then what we can do in order to be able to register our name on the Chevening list of scholars. So if you look at the trend over the years, from my country, Ghana, I would say I'm the second person to actually win the Chevening scholarship, aside a senior colleague who won about roughly 10 years ago. So if you
Okay,
look at
that's beautiful.
yeah, if you look at a gap 10 years ago, and this is second time somebody's winning from our
Yeah,
profession. I can't speak for Nigeria because I don't really know the number of Chevening scholars from our profession.
yeah.
I know somebody from Gambia. He's the first and ever from their country as well. So if you look at the disparity between other professional bodies and medical imaging registering on the Chevening scholarship, that is very wide. The gap is very wide. So I would love all of us to actually give it a shot, be prepared for it as we're applying, and be able to secure the scholarship because it's a one in a lifetime achievement to be a Chevening scholar. Okay, so
That's awesome. That's awesome.
yeah.
To be honest, I think I am most prepared throughout this session. I think I'm most prepared for this particular session because like I've been hearing about this Chevening scholarship program and all of that. So I really want to know, more about this and how I could like, tap into the opportunities and see if I could land myself a scholarship, right? So okay, so without much further ado, so I think that's enough introduction done. So I think I'll be handing the floor to you now to like, get started, with the session. So we could see if we could wrap up. I know you must have a tight schedule, so maybe to wrap up and get back to your task. Yeah. So at this juncture, I think you can have the floor now and share all you have for us tonight. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm hoping that it will be as interactive as it can be so that whatever I share, then you could also ask me your questions. If I have the answers to it, I would definitely want to answer all of us our questions. Okay. So I have a 10-page slide that I would want to share so that you could use it as the guide to engage in a conversation. I hope I'll be able to share this. Just as some few seconds, I'm trying to load my slide.
Okay, okay, so
Yeah. So just to ask, is there somebody here who has ever applied to the Chevening scholarship, like giving it a shot and haven't been able to sail through?
Yeah, hello.
Yes, please. You can share
I
that.
tried this year, but along the line, I stopped because I was doing some referees and I have to prepare some documents which I didn't do earlier, and the deadline was too close, so I have to just stop.
Oh, okay. So I'll actually start as I'm trying to set up my screen. So the Chevening scholarship has been in existence for a very, very long time. Personally, I wasn't too much into it because of some basic limitations or in terms of eligibility, there are some basic things I needed to put in place before I could give it a shot. So my primary target was the Commonwealth Share Scholarship, which I believe few days ago and last week my other colleagues shed or drew light on it and how to apply and how to secure the scholarship. Eh, Okay, I don't know if you all can see my screen actually, but I'm trying as much as possible to project it.
Yeah, I could see your screen.
All right, great,
Yeah,
thank
your
you.
screen is visible now.
All right. So just a disclaimer, please. Whatever I'm going to share here today is my personal opinion about the Chevening Scholarship and not that of the Chevening Secretariat or the Foreign Commonwealth and the Development Office. So the slide is just about 10, and I hope we finish it in some few minutes time. The first will be my personal journey. So right after my undergraduate studies, I finished in 2021. And then I did my 1 year national mandatory service. In Ghana, we do a mandatory national service for 1 year. So during that period, I already made up my mind that I was not going to work in the professional space for too long. So I would start applying for postgraduate studies. And definitely looking at my background, I knew I was not going to be able to fund my postgraduate studies by myself. So I would have to secure some scholarships to be able to pursue that. So in doing so, in 2021, I applied for the Commonwealth Share Scholarship. By then, Bournemouth University was on the list, so I applied to Bournemouth University and then also applied to the Commonwealth Share Scholarship. But unfortunately, I couldn't secure the scholarship for two reasons. One, I wasn't prepared, and two, I didn't do due diligence. There are certain things I needed to do before I could apply. I didn't do all that. And then I knew by myself I was not ready. But then I was just trying to give it a shot. So I tried and I couldn't secure. So in 2022, I tried again. But in 2021, I actually applied with a colleague of mine. And then he was able to secure it. So we both came from the same undergrad and the same university, was working in the same facility, and we were staying in the same house. And then luckily he secured a scholarship that particular year, and then he came to the UK. So the following year, I gave it a shot again. So I applied for the Commonwealth Share Scholarship, but this time not in medical imaging, because that particular year medical imaging was not on the list. So I applied for a public health program, and again, I couldn't secure. That same year, I applied to the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship. I didn't secure that one as well. I applied to the Marshall and then two other scholarships, but they were university-based scholarships, and I couldn't secure any of those scholarships as well. So that was my 2022 journey. In 2023, I applied to the Chevening Scholarship again. I applied to Commonwealth Shared one more time. So that's like 3 Commonwealth in a row. Chevening, that's the second time. I applied for the Erasmus Mundus also that particular year. And then I also applied for some individual university scholarships as well. So there has been a lot of applications within that 3-year period. If I could count, I'm able to count more than 13 different scholarship applications I made during that period. And it hasn't been easy, but one thing I'll say is if you are persistent, then definitely you're going to make it. Okay. So I'm going to touch briefly about what the Chevening Scholarship entails. I'm also going to talk about the eligibility criteria, things you need to meet before you actually apply, because if you don't meet this criteria, then you could apply, but you may not be able to sail through. Okay. Then I'm going to touch briefly on the application process, what we need to do at this stage, and then how to actually apply very well. Then some little tips, things that I think I've done that gave me the breakthrough. I could throw light on those ones specifically, and then. So my personal journey, I just shared that I applied to the Commonwealth Share Scholarship like 3 times in a row, and then I didn't make the list for any of them. I didn't even get to the waiting list. You know, there is when you are nominated, others are nominated. There are some people that are being put on the reserve list, and then I didn't even make the reserve list anyway. But that didn't discourage me either way. I applied to the Erasmus Mundus like 2-3 times, yeah, and the Chevening twice. So in 2022, I applied, 23, I applied as well. And then I was able to secure it in the 23-24 towards the 24-25 academic year. And I've applied to so many individual university scholarships like St. Charles University, St. Andrews, Bournemouth, and UCL, University College London, City University, like a number of universities. I was just giving it my shot and hoping that one of them will actually be sail through. So back to the Chevening scholarship. What does it really entail, or what are the benefits? Why would you want to actually apply to the Chevening scholarship? Because there are so many scholarships out there. So why would one want to actually apply to the Chevening scholarship? The first thing is that it's like you all know, it's fully funded, so your cost of tuition is taken care of. You are being paid a monthly stipend, very good money that you can actually survive on and even save. So yeah, your travel expenses are taken care of. So your inbound and then your return flight tickets are all paid for. You don't have to pay anything. All you need is to just take your bag, your laptops, your phone, and be in the UK to study. Basically, that's it. It also exposes you to a lot of networking opportunities. So you're not just coming to study in the UK, but you get a chance to meet other scholars from other parts of the world, be able to interact with them, like grow your network. Because in this modern era, like a network is what builds you. That is where you tend to grow professionally. Even in your personal life, that's how you tend to grow. So the kind of people you have within your network is what kind of propels you to like bigger places. And then it also gives you the chance to be part of like a large body of alumni. Currently, as a Chevening scholar, I can go to any other country that is affiliated to the Commonwealth countries and just introduce myself. I'm able to get a Chevening scholar there. That is all. So it's more like a passport that could take you to everywhere you want to go. Anywhere you go, if you mention that you're a Chevening scholar, you are kind of rated in a way, and then you are given some kind of preferential treatment, right? So these are the benefits if you're a Chevening scholar. And that's the main reason why I would want any of us over here to actually give it a try. Okay. There are some times that you may really feel that you are not eligible in a certain sense, and then you are not ready. But I always tell people that you don't know when this kind of scholarships will end. They can stand up tomorrow and say, okay, we are out of funds and they will not be able to sponsor anybody to come and study in the UK again. And then maybe you are projecting that, okay, next 2 years, I would want to give it a try. Why don't you give it a try today? If you're not successful, you learn from it because this is a whole journey. How to write the essays, how to have people review your essays for you. And the whole entire application process is a journey that you need to learn, you need to master. Most of the people that I knew that secured this scholarship, some people are able to secure it on the first attempt, but a number of people have to try so many times. So instead of waiting for that time to come, you could also actually give it a try. But then be mindful that you are meeting the basic eligibility. Okay. So what is the eligibility criteria, or what are things you need to meet before you actually apply for the Chevening scholarship? The first is that you have to be part of a Chevening eligible country or territory. So if you click on the link over here, which I'm sure I'll share the slide. So if you click on it or you go to the Chevening website, all the countries that are eligible are listed over there. So you need to be sure that your country is part of those listed countries before you go ahead to do the application, so you don't end up wasting your time. Then what Chevening is all about actually is sponsoring leaders to grow their leadership skills. So they're identifying leaders that could cause change within their professional space or in the community or anywhere that they want to sponsor to go and study and come back and make more impact or make impact within their professional space or their communities. So you need to be sure, you need to look at yourself and evaluate yourself and be sure that you are a leader. You are somebody who is passionate about causing a change or making a change, making an impact in the lives of people in your community. Okay. So if you are not too certain if you are a leader or not, you could introspect, find out for yourself what are things that, or what are your leadership skills, what are the leadership roles you've taken over the years. It could be as basic as being a program rep in your university days. It could be as basic as being the unit lead in your department. It could be anything, but it should be a leadership role, something that you have championed or you're championing to cause a change. Okay. The other thing is that you should have at least 2 years of working experience. This is where a lot of people tend to draw back. But then I know 2 people who, right from the university, secured a Chevening scholarship. It all boils down to the kind of story you write, okay, how your essays are crafted, the kind of story you tell to the reviewing committee. So yes, you're supposed to have 2 years working experience. That is amounting to about 2,800 hours of working. But then there are exceptions to it because I personally know two people who actually secured a scholarship without having to work for that 2 years. Okay. Then you'd have to hold an undergraduate degree. At least your BSc is a basic thing you need. If you have a diploma or you have a certificate, it may not really put you up there. So you need to have at least a BSc prior to applying for it. Because if you don't have a BSc, then how do you apply for an MSc program in the UK? Most UK universities will require that you have a BSc. There are some exceptions to it. Some universities do I take other degrees, but then the basic one is you having a BSc. The other thing is that you should be ready to apply to a school in the UK and also securing an admission. So you can apply to the Chevening scholarship without really looking at applying to a school in the UK. So you have to look through all the schools in the UK, identify a program that resonates with your future plan, what you intend to do, the kind of impact you want to make. There should be that correlation between the school and the program you're applying to, and then the story you're crafting around your application for the Chevening scholarship. Okay, and always be mindful about the timeline, the time frame that the Chevening scholarship is open, so that you don't project yourself beyond the scholarship deadline and then miss it out. Okay. During the application process, there are instances where they will request that you have certain references, or you have a reference letter from a professional or your head, or an academic reference, or anything of a reference. But then that comes way after you have sailed through the preliminary stages of the scrutiny of your application until you get to the interview stage. Then they request for these references, but then you would have to put names. So you need to get names of at least 2 references down, their emails and their contacts as you are doing application. Then the final one, which their Chevening is really heavy on, is you should be willing to return to your home country, because during your application, you mentioned that you want to come to the UK, study, acquire some skills and knowledge, go back to your country, and then effect a change. So if you're somebody who is not willing to go back to your country to cause that change or effect that change, then maybe Chevening is not for you. People apply to the UK universities or apply for this scholarship for different reasons. Some don't really want to go back to their countries. So if you feel Chevening is going to be a blockade to you to stay in the UK after your studies, then I don't think Chevening is really for you. But like I said, there are exceptions to some of these things. Okay, I know people who really got a Chevening scholarship and then had a PhD offer later on, or based on special requests from certain institutional or governmental bodies, they're able to waive that clause of returning back to their countries for them. So there are exceptions to some of these things. Now, how is the application process like? The first thing you have to do as a prospective Chevening applicant is that you should be frequenting the Chevening website, because a lot of informations are out there on the website. All the things you need, all the guidance you need to actually apply for the scholarship are listed over there. So if you're somebody who frequents the scholarship website almost all the time, you definitely have all the information you need. Okay. The first time I was applying for the scholarship, I didn't really go to the website that much. I was relying so much heavily on YouTube videos, comments on Google and social media and all that. I didn't really frequent the page. But subsequently, when I was applying the second time, I'd have to like invest my time in going through the website, and all the tips I needed were just stuck on the website. Okay. So if you are looking forward to applying, I'll advise that this application window has just ended. If you're looking forward to applying next year, I advise you take time during your free period, just go to the website, look at the things over there. There is a session when you want to have interaction with any of them. Those that can give you guidance on there are slots that you can just have a chit chat with somebody over there. Tell them what you are looking out for. If you are really looking out to applying next year, what kind of guidance do you need? They'll guide you through all the things you need. All the questions will be answered over there. So I'll beg of you to actually visit the website as often as you can. So when you access the link is just right here, in case you have the slide that you want to click on it. If not, just type chevening.org on Google and it will take you right to the scholarship website. The first part of the application, you'd have to fill in your biometrics. So your name, your date of birth, your country of residence, the facilities or institutions you are working at, the number of hours you've worked over there. So there is a place that you have to calculate all that and input in. So if you are working, let's say 8 hours a day by 5 times 40 hours a week, the system will do all those calculations for you if you're entering the number of hours you work at each facility. You don't have to just enter your main place of work. If you are doing any kind of volunteering work anywhere, you could enter all that. So I have a number of volunteering opportunities, so I entered all of them, plus my years of working. So I have a lot or a great number of working hours when I finish my application process. So it doesn't really matter if you don't have a permanent job as at now, but you have some volunteering works you are doing, that still counts. So you can just use that, all right? The second part of the application process has to do with the essays, and that's really key. That's where everything boils down to how you're going to be selected. So you are supposed to write about 500-worded essay on specific themes, and there are about 4 of those themes. The first one is about your leadership and influence. That's why I said from the beginning that prior to applying, you need to identify yourself as a leader. Okay, somebody who is willing or is already causing change in his or a professional body or in their community. It could be as small as you think, but it depends on how you sell your story, okay, what you really say. So during my first application, I didn't really have in-depth knowledge about how I need to craft this entire essay. So I just wrote, well, back in university, I was part of a committee that has to do with organizing programs for my department. I was involved in teaching basic skill students in my university community. I was involved in educating people on how do you call it, suicide prevention and all that. So I was just writing a lot of stuff. But this scholarship has a way that you need to craft your essay to sell your story, okay? And that's the reason why we have this big star here. We call it the star approach. The other approach is to actually writing, but you can, when you are done with this interaction, you could just Google and then find out what is the star approach about, the star approach to writing essays. So the star approach has to do with, you need to identify a situation, either in your profession or in your community. So identify a specific situation, then identify what needs to be done. So that's a task. What is there to do about that situation? Then you talk about the action. What is there or what have you done to resolve that situation? Okay. Then what is the result of what you have done or the action you have taken? That's what makes it STAR. So STAR, the S stands for situation. You identify a situation, the task or what is supposed to be done, the action, what you have done about the situation, and then the result. What was the result from the action you have taken? It doesn't necessarily have to be a good or a bad result, just that it should be something that sells more to the action you have taken. Okay. So anytime you're writing any of these essays or you're writing an example under each of these themes, you need to be looking at the STAR approach as you're writing. Okay. The second one is about networking and then relationship building. So the Chevening want to know, are you somebody who is able to network with other people? Are you somebody who is able to build relationships with other people? Because they believe that for you to thrive in this world, you need network. You need people to be able to implement projects. You need people to be able to solve problems because you can't solve them all by yourself. Okay. So they want to know if you are somebody who is able to network with other people, regardless of their background, their location. If you're able to initiate and then how you're able to initiate that networking space. Okay. Some people can just say, okay, I'm able to talk to my HOD during a situation I was in my school. We needed maybe you needed a projector for your lectures. I walked to my HOD and then I spoke to him that my class needed a projector. That is not networking. Okay. We based on the first example you have given, your leadership and influence, would want to know how you're able to network with other people to cause change or resolve an issue that you have identified in your leadership essays. So the hook is that a lot of people write these essays without coherence, okay? But the trick is, for each of the essays you are going to write, there should be that linkage throughout from the beginning to the ending of your essay. So if you're talking about leadership and influence, you have identified a problem, you have taken an action, and this is a result. In writing, it will best to link your networking to your leadership and influence essay by identifying key people that helped you to solve that problem. How did you solve the problem? Definitely, you didn't solve it all by yourself. You solved it with a team, a group of people, or individuals too. How were you able to have that kind of connection or link with them? How did you initiate that? Was it you identified them at a conference, you identified them after a seminar, you met them somewhere, you saw them on LinkedIn, you saw them on Facebook or Twitter? How did you initiate it? Do you send them a text? Oh, okay, I have this project I'm doing. I think it affiliates to what you're already doing, and I would love that we collaborate on solving this problem. Those kind of stuff. So they will ask you, how did you initiate that? How did you sustain that network? Mind you, if you create a network or you have a network with somebody, you need that kind of sustenance. How did you sustain the network with the person? You can't just network with somebody and then quote and unquote, we say you ghost the person for a while, then you pop up later on. It doesn't create a good network. So they want to know how you're able to, as an individual, as a leader that you said you are, how you're able to sustain this network. Okay, you have to detail all these things in the 500 word essay. Mind you, people think it's a lot of word, but it's really not a lot of word until you start writing. So you are given 2 examples under each of these essays, at least 2. So you have to be very careful about the kind of words you choose and then how you craft your entire essay. So writing 2 examples, you may think it's a lot, but it's really small. There are points that you really have to delete some things, summarize, and then paraphrase some things in order to make it very concise. And it takes a skill. It takes a lot of skill to be able to do all that. The third essay is about studying in the UK. So we'd want to know, why do you want to study in the UK? Why, of all the places in the world, why UK? So this is where you have to throw some accolades to UK, talking about the things that UK is doing in your home country, the kind of interventions that UK is doing in your home country, and then how you think you studying in UK you could come back and collaborate with the UK embassy in your home country to make progress in some of the things they are already doing. Okay, so they want to know why you're studying in the UK. You have to give the accolades to them, what they are doing so far, the progress they've made, and how you can contribute as an individual. Then you also need to speak about the university that you're applying to, why that particular university. So mind you, you're supposed to choose at least 3 universities. So you have to talk about each and every of these 3 universities, talking about why that particular university, why the program you have chosen. Okay, you need to give details about the specific models or units within the program that you think contributes to the problem you have identified in your leadership essay that you think or you want to solve, or which you are solving, but then because of lack of certain skills, you'd want to study at that university. So this is where you detail the specific units or models that the university offers on that program and how that benefits you. So the work here is you have to go back to those universities, look at the program you have chosen, you are going to apply to, look at the details of it, and find out how does that relate to your leadership essay, the things you have detailed it, what is the linkage with. So most of the universities have a number of models on their websites about the programs they offer. You don't have to write about all of them. At least 2 should be enough. But take the ones that really link with the problems you have identified or the problem you want to solve, or the one you're solving for which you have to lack certain skills. And then you'd want to up your skills to go back and then finish it up. So basically, studying in the UK, you talk about what the UK is doing in your home country, why UK is the best place to study. Okay, there are lots of stats out there to that effect, like why UK is put up there in terms of the place of destination for most international students. Why do most international students want to go to the UK to study? There are certain reasons why they go there. So you'd have to detail all that's out there. Then you talk about the university, why that university. There are scores to rate universities worldwide. One is the Times rating of universities. So you look at where your university you have chosen is on that Times list, and then the kind of accolades that are attached to the university. You need to put some of those bits over there for them to know that, okay, you actually know what the university are going to, and then how important or how relevant it is to the course you are taking. Okay. Then the last one is your career plan. Chevening wants to know what is your short-term goal, what is your mid-term goal, and what is your long-term goal. Okay, so you have about 3 paragraphs for this part of the essay. The short-term goal, they want to know when you return back to your home country, the first year or the first 6 months, what do you really want to do? Most of the time, a lot of people that write their essays within this section just talk about they returning and then maybe going back to their workplace or securing a new job and then taking initiatives like organizing seminars and symposiums to talk to people about how to the effect of certain conditions or certain situations that is resulting in certain bad situations for which they want to solve. So assuming my case, I'm talking about low access to maternal care in rural areas in terms of medical imaging. So they are not have to be able to have quality ultrasound services in rural areas. What do I want to do? So this is why I have to educate people about the effects of not having quality access to quality ultrasound access in rural areas. What would that bring? It will bring about what we term quacks. So unprofessional people going to these places to offer the services to them, which is not really the service they need, but because they want to make some kind of money or income out of the people, they go there, offer what they have to offer, and then pay the locals money and go away. So I want to stop that. So you have to educate people about having access to quality care. If you don't give them the right care, then they tend to go to people who don't really give the right care, but try to exploit them. Then I'll have to also talk to professional bodies like my professional body, the Ghana Society of Radiographers, about the needs to boost the number of people that goes to these rural areas. So if you are going to talk about students from universities that are graduating now, how do we kind of influence them to go to these rural areas to offer service to them? Okay. Then how do we tackle the entire quackery thing within the professional body? How do we prevent people who are not professionals from carrying out professional roles in these rural areas? And how if the effects of their action is impacting the overall health care access in the country. So you look at all those dynamics and the statistics. Okay. So those are the basic things you're going to do within the first 6 or 1 year of your return. So you don't have a big, because Chevening is aware when you return to your home country, sometimes you may not go back to your workplace. You may lose your job. And then so they are very much aware that you need that space to look for a job, secure a job, or try to fit back into the system. So you can't do a lot, like you said in your other essays. So basically, it's just about going for conferences, speaking about your new knowledge, your new skills, and then what you can do with your new knowledge and skills. Then they'd want to know your midterm goal. What are your midterm goals? This is where you have to talk about you securing a job, and then you using your soft skills to cause change within that new space you have gotten your job at. Okay, so if I go back to Ghana currently and then I secure an ultrasound role somewhere. Okay, what do I want to do? I'd want to beef up my volunteering team, be able to deploy people to these rural areas and continue giving them free access as we look for a long-term solution to their problem. If it's about lobbying with government to set up facilities over there, if it's about going to the universities and then negotiating with stakeholders to kind of post final year students to those places, those are the things I would want to do within my midterm. Okay. Then we are looking at a long term. They want to know, as a Chevening scholar, what plans do you have for your future? This is where people talk about setting up research facilities. People talk about collaborating with people on a bigger project. This is where people talk about securing PhD roles and all that. Okay, so lots of people talk about their future plan, where they see themselves at the penultimate place. So if it's about PhD, you need to detail the trajectory you're going to use to get to that PhD. If it's about collaborating in research, how do you do all that? So this is where you talk about that height you see yourself at the end of the day. Okay. So these 4 themes are very important in your essay writing. This is what you write your entire essay about. Each of them 500 words. So that'll be like roughly 2,000 words in all. The first talking about leadership. Are you a leader? How do you tell us you're a leader? So you talk about situation you have identified, the action you took, the results, and then all that. You tell us about that. The networking, how you're able to network. How did you sustain that network? How did that network benefit you or your local community or your professional body? Because we want to see the benefits of the network. Okay. Then why you want to study in the UK? Why that particular university? Why that particular course? You have to talk about all those 3 universities and then the courses and their benefits. Then your career plan, your short-term, your mid-term, your long-term goals. Okay. So that's about the application process. Again, as you're writing your essays, always remember it's a STAR approach. Always use the STAR approach because that it gives you leverage as to how you put your wording together and communicate to the reading team. Okay. I think I've really said a lot about the tips, but I'll just throw light on them again. The first thing is that prior to applying for the Chevening scholarship. So this application window has ended. So the next one will be next year, around August, July, ending of July into August thereabouts. I can really mention the specifics, but if you're somebody that frequents the scholarship page, I'm sure you by now you know the opening window for next year. What you can do now currently is to look for universities that are interested in the programs over there, and then start writing about why you want to apply to that university and why you would want to be enrolled onto that particular program or course. What are the things or the modules or the units on the program that benefits you? Okay, then you start writing, putting those things together. It should be 3 universities in all because they will request that you list at least 3. If you don't get a first choice, at least definitely your second choice university will be there for you to pick up. Okay, so 3 universities, 3 courses. Why those courses particularly? Okay, why the UK? Why the university? If you start putting these bits together, it makes your essay writing easier when the application window is open. And like I would always say, if you're somebody who is interested in securing scholarships, don't wait until the window opens before you start writing your essay, because during that period, there'll be lots of pressure on you. But if you start putting your points together from now, by the time the window opens, you have a lot of time to actually put your resources together and then refine your essays to be very good. That period, you also have people to actually look at it for you, make corrections, and then make sure you have a very good competitive application. Okay. Then, like I said, start drafting your essays. If you don't know where to start from, okay, I'll recommend, what really helped me is watching YouTube videos. And one YouTube video that I'll always recommend to everybody is it's a Nigerian, Victor Agboga. I don't know if that name resonates with anybody, but his videos are really good. So he gives breakdown, show you how to go about the entire application. So I recommend that if you are free, just always frequent his page, watch the videos, and he has a lot of scholarship applications over there. But if yours is about Chevening, type Chevening and then watch his videos on the Chevening application. It will take through all the application process, how you need to write the essays, give you examples of how you need to write them, so that as you are drafting yours, you could follow it. Because mind you, no Chevening scholar will come up and give you the essay. Oh, this is my essay, and then this is how I applied. So look at it and then apply. Nobody will do that. But there are people that actually share bits of their essays out that you could listen to on those channels and be able to coin your essay accordingly. Okay. So if you are interested, start putting your essays together because you already know what to write on. So start putting them together. Along the way, when your leadership roles are changing, you could just be altering your essays along the way. Then the third one is find a mentor. Okay, find somebody who is going to guide you through the application process. There are so many scholars out there. If you go on LinkedIn or X or Facebook, wherever, you see a lot of scholars over there. Reach out to them, let them know your interest, and then how you can be guided. But then before reaching out to them, you need to do due diligence by yourself. You need to make sure that you have put your resources together and then tell them what you have gotten to, what you are stuck at, and what they need to give out to you for you to progress, okay? Because if you go to them and text them, oh, well, I'm interested in applying for a Chevening scholarship, and then I would want you to guide me, and you stop there, they may not even respond to your message. They may not even get back to you. They may get back to you and tell you, okay, I wish you all the best. And that ends there. But if you tell them what you have done so far, what you have got stuck at, and then the kind of help you need, then the person is able to tell you specifics. Okay. So find somebody, find a mentor, find somebody who can guide you through the application process, somebody who can tell you what you need to do at each point, so that because they have passed through the process, so definitely they know what to do, they know what they place at where, and then how that helped them. Okay. It doesn't necessarily have to be somebody from the medical imaging background, because obviously not all the reviewers are from medical imaging background. So probably somebody that reviewed my essay could be from physiotherapy or from medicine or from a different field. But they look at 2 things. The first person that's going to review your essay is somebody from an academic background. So they want to see how you wrote your essays, how you're able to communicate through your essay. That's from somebody from an academic background. The second reviewer may be somebody related in your field. So it could be somebody within the health sector that could really tell if the story you're writing is really, really the situation at ground. The third reviewer of your essay will be somebody that knows much more about your home country. So if it's Ghana, the third reviewer will be somebody who knows much about the landscape in Ghana. What is the landscape of medical imaging in Ghana? What is really going on? Does this essay really relates to what the UK is doing in my country? So that's what the third reviewer is going to do. So it will pass through all these 3 reviewers before you're being selected or nominated for even the interview. Okay, so you need to really write a good essay out there. And when you reach out to somebody and the person is not able to get back to you, you don't have to panic. You could also look for somebody, a different person. Funny enough, my mentor during my application process was just my colleague, my friend that I went into my national service with, and then he got a scholarship in that particular year, 2021-22 window. So he's somebody I reach out to. I just text him, yeah, Joe, this is what I'm doing. I'm stuck here. What do you advise? Well, I've seen this thing somewhere, and I think I'd want to really write this in this way. What do you think? That kind of chit chat. So even though it could be your friend, it could be a colleague, but if the person have passed through the process before, then the person knows how to guide you to also sail through. So you need somebody that can really guide you. And I'm saying it again, like you need a mentor. Okay. The fourth one is you should have, like I've said, you should have scholars or mentors that will review your essays for you before you submit. During the last application window, some people reach out to me and I read through their essays. Some of them I read through their essays. Some of them I'm not able to do because the number of people that I had to review the essays for were a lot. So I couldn't review for everybody. Some of them I have to refer to other colleagues and then signpost them to what they need to do. But those are some of them that I reviewed for. I told them what they need to do. They are supposed to go check it out and return back to me on what their improvements were. But most of them didn't really return for me to know the kind of changes they've made. And then they went to submit. Some of them also got back. I gave them further tips on what they need to do to polish it up. Others were perfect. So I just told them to put it out there and then pray that everything works out. So based on how well you write, you need somebody to really look at it, give you a feedback, a positive feedback. And then you use that to recraft your essays before you submit. Don't just write thinking, okay, I think I'm good at writing. I write to the best of my knowledge and therefore I'm good to go. But then be very particular about the kind of people you reach out to, because some people can really look at your write-up and then try to divert your course. They'll tell you, no, this thing, don't write it this way. But you alone know your story. You own your story, so you know how to put your wording together to communicate what you want to. Some people, you send them the essay, then they want to really change your whole trajectory. I remember when I was applying for my Chevening, I shared with some other people, and they were telling me to change my story. Okay, write it in a different way. But then that's not really what I want to do. That is not what I'm seeing my future to be. So if I change it to the way they are thinking, what shows I can really defend myself when I go for the interview? I was weighing it out, and then some of them I didn't really hit to the advice they gave. It was very good advices anyway, but I didn't really hit to them because I know my story. I own my story. I know how to communicate that story. So I stuck to my story. And I think that's what got me to where I am. So always have your story. Let the people understand what your future is, what your trajectory is, what you are aiming at, and what you're looking out for. So that they use that to review your essay, not with just a blind mind and then try to change your trajectory. Okay. So always be mindful who you share your essays with and then who you ask for opinions from. This one is very important to me because a lot of people want to really give it a shot at when they are in the university, but the whole thing is that back in Ghana, we are not so much aware about scholarship opportunities. I don't know for Nigeria. I know lots of these stuff go on in Nigeria because I know lots of Nigerian scholars. But in other parts of the country or of Africa, we don't really have so much information about scholarship opportunities. So when you're in your undergrad stages, you don't really know about scholarship. You don't know how to even apply for it. If there's somebody here currently who is looking at applying for scholarships in the future, this is what I'll advise. Even for those currently who haven't gotten so much leadership opportunities, have not volunteered before, and therefore they have not gotten a well-built portfolio to sell themselves out, this is what I'll advise. No matter how small you think it is, pick up a leadership role. It could be in your church. You could apply to be the children's leader in your church. It could be within your workspace. Just think through. There are sometimes small portfolios that we don't really take into consideration. If you have clinical students coming to your facility, since I'm assuming we are all medical imaging professionals here, if you have students that come to your facility, you could talk to your HOD and tell them that, okay, fine, I want to create a portfolio for myself. I want to be the one coordinating the activities of these students when they come. Create a portfolio for yourself. Okay. You could look at it, okay, there are a lot of clients that come to the department every day. I want to be the person that kind of communicates with the patients before they even go to the examination room. So the first thing I do is that when I come in the morning, I talk to them, psych them on what they're going to expect within the department, the kind of services we have in the department, and then the kind of channel they need to go through to finally get their report. This is a portfolio you're going to create for yourself. Okay. At the end, you put in your CV that what you kind of do that kind of public engagement and you list the things you do. Then you have created a leadership role for yourself. Okay. It could be volunteering. Look at out there. There are so many NGOs out there. Reach out to any of them, volunteer, do something. Okay. Because these kind of scholarships are bent on the leadership and volunteering skills. They want to know how you give back to the community, how you give back to your professional space, how you're able to cause change within your professional space in your community. Okay. So if you don't have any leadership skills, volunteering skills, this is the best time to try doing something. If you try something today or tomorrow, by next year, this time that you're applying for the scholarship, definitely you are going to have some form of leadership skill. You are going to have some form of volunteering skill. Okay. If you're a final year student or you just finished university, look out there. Personally, I'm somebody that's very big on volunteering. So I've volunteered for a number of organizations. I was part of the MCN, like you've heard. When I was in final year, going towards my final year, I volunteered for the campus network where I was teaching just basic school students within my university community. So Saturday and Sunday, I just gather them, teach them, guide them through their assignments, and then kind of psych them, give them that kind of pastoral relationship that they need to know what to do after their basic level, looking at the kind of future they can envision for themselves. That is what I'm doing. If you are somebody who have not really volunteered before, it may be difficult. You may be wondering what you want to do, but make sure that whatever you're volunteering for is something that aligns with your future goals. Don't go and volunteer at a place that you don't really have a future related link with. Okay. Don't be a medical imaging professional, then you are volunteering for work. I can't really pinpoint anything, but just be cautious about what the things you volunteer for so that there's a link between that role and then your future prospects. Okay. And like I said, if you're somebody who is already within the professional space and you don't have any leadership role, you can create one for yourself, or where there are slots or portfolios open for application, just throw in that application. But it doesn't have to necessarily be a titled leadership role. In my case, in my department, I wasn't having a titled role like that, though, even though there were some subsets that I was affiliated to, but I didn't have a titled role within my professional play. But I have volunteered a lot, and then my leadership skills came from what I do in the rural communities. So when I finished my Monday to Friday activities at the hospital, my Saturday, Sundays are devoted to going to rural places with my mobile ultrasound machine to go and offer them free services. Because I know for them to travel from wherever they are, from the hinterlands to the main town for these services, imagine a pregnant woman traveling these long hours. Sometimes our roads are not even good. And if I'm an able-bodied guy, why won't I go to them rather and offer the services to them? So that's what I was thinking. And I was drawing on it from what I kind of faced within the departments that I was working in. Most of the time, you see a lot of these women brought in with ambulance at terminal stages of their labor, sometimes with misdiagnosed reports that the physicians find it difficult to now make a decision how they are going to manage the case. Sometimes last minute drops in with lots of complications. So if I'm able to pick these complications earlier on, or I'm able to make a diagnosis for them earlier on by going to the villages they are, then they can make informed decisions when they come to the hospital. So instead of them traveling several hours, I had affiliation with the CHIPS compound or the small clinics in those rural areas, then have that link with them within Saturday and Sunday, jump onto a motorbike with my colleagues, and then we go to those places, offer the services to them. That is where my leadership role came in. That's where I handed my leadership skills from. So I didn't really speak about the leadership roles I had within my department in my place of work, but all my leadership skills were defined around the things I do by myself. How I'm able to put people together, take them to these rural areas and then the kind of services to offer to them. How I'm able to use my network with my former professors in universities and then be able to pull in some more guys from the university to join me in the. So I was in the northern part of Ghana, so I'm able to draw them to the northern region so that we could increase the number of professionals within those regions. So those are the things I was doing, and that's where my leadership skills stem from. So you could be anything. You could also identify something, try and do something, cause a change, and then use that change for yourself when you're applying for these kind of scholarships. Okay. Like I said, apply for volunteering roles, identify a problem in your community or profession, bring people together to solve that problem. And that is where, there are so many problems around us that we don't really think about. When I came to Bournemouth University, the first thing I realized that there's a Nigerian students community or society where when Nigerians come to Bournemouth here to school, they join the society, then they are able to guide them as to what to do. I realized that we don't have one for ourselves as Ghanaians over here. So what did I do? I called two of my colleagues together. We went to the Students' Union president, told them that this is a challenge. There are so many Ghanaians here in Bournemouth University, but there's no society for them. So we want to create one for ourselves. They guided us on what to do, and then now we have a society for Ghanaian students. I've identified the problem, I brought a solution to it. And now there's a society or community of Ghanaian students here that we all chit chat and they talk about things. We're able to address people's challenges. We signpost people to things they need to do. We assist each other. So there are so many problems are all around us. You just have to think around yourself and identify one and then start working on it towards your future applications and other things. Okay. Always remember that Chevening is looking for leaders. So whatever you do for yourself as a leader is what is going to sell you out there. If you don't put up yourself as a leader, they will not really look at your essays. They may read your essays, but they will not really consider it because you're not somebody that is really causing change within your professional body or your community. So always know that they're looking for leaders. And then that's why if you frequent their website, they'll tell you, Chevening is looking for leaders. Are you a leader? That's the question they'll ask you. Okay. And I'll leave this quote here for all of us to think about. Understand that it is possible for you to become a Chevener. And then how do you become a Chevener? You just have to do what Cheveners do. What do Cheveners do? We lead. Cheveners identify leadership opportunities for themselves. They look at problems. They want to solve problems. They want to cause change. And you can become one. Just identify one around yourself and then I think you become one. Okay. You have to be persistent and then you become one. All right. So that is all about my Chevening journey and then what we need to do as professionals. Mind you, like I said from the beginning, not so many of us from the medical imaging background have registered name on the Chevening scholarship. So it would be great for all of us to really give it a shot, apply, do something and then apply. And if you write a good essay, sell out yourself very well, follow the guidance on how to write the essays, you definitely sail through. Okay. Thank you all for listening to me. And then I hope we have enough questions to ask. It could be specific questions. It could be things that you'd want some kind of highlight on. I'm willing to answer all. Thank you.
All right. That was awesome. That was a great one. Thank you so much, Mr. Wisdom. For sharing your experiences with us. Yeah, that was I'm so excited I am part of this session tonight. So without wasting much time, so I would love every one of us on the call can start training our questions now, so Mr. Wisdom can attend to them. You can make use of the chat box if you don't want to make use of the mic. If you have any question, you can raise your hands and we'll kindly unmute for you to ask your question so he can give us answers. So yeah, questions can start coming in right away.
So I think I saw one
Right.
from Emmanuel.
Yes.
Emmanuel is asking if NSS is part. Yes, Emmanuel, your NSS year is part. It's part of the 2 years working experience because that's a whole year. So it is part. When you're doing your calculation, you have to factor that in as well. So if you have done your NSS, it's assumed that you have 1 year working experience. So you just need some extra bits of it. It could be volunteering, it could be any other thing, just to add up to the number to get the cutoff. Okay. Yeah,
All
so
right.
there's app. Chijioke has read
Yeah.
this.
Chijoke, your hand is up. Can you kindly unmute and ask your question? Chijoke.
Hello. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So, Mr. Wisdom, first of all, I want to thank you personally, for your section tonight. It really opened my eyes on a personal level, right? Because Chevening scholarship is what I've been like rooting out for. So I have two questions. So I will quickly ask both of them.
All
First
right.
is I love the way you shared your stories, right? Because not everybody actually shows their scars, right? Some people, I mean, we tend to look them from a distant level, and we tend to see them as all flyers. They did it and they always get it, right? So I love the way you shared your scars, because the goal at ARSPN is to create this kind of mentorship platform so that we can stand on shoulders, um like your shoulder and other professionals, so you can be able to like
Right.
not do the same mistakes, right? So my first question is this: based on all you've told us, you've made so many applications, right? So based on all these applications you've made, I mean, at the end you've achieved success. Could you pinpoint anything that you would have done differently at that time? That you know that, like, if you're applying now, something you know that you did differently, and something you wish you could have done differently in your previous applications, right? That's one question. Then secondly, he didn't actually, people that came in previous sections, they were actually just like the Commonwealth scholar guy was telling us that you apply to the school, then the school nominates you for the scholarship. Erasmus was telling us that you apply for Erasmus, right, first. So I wanted to know, how does Chevening work? Do you apply to the school first before they nominate you, or you apply for the scholarship before you apply for the school? That's my two questions, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. So I'll answer the second one, then I'll lead it to the first one. So for Chevening, you'd have to just assuming the scholarship window was still open by now, I'd have said you should apply for the scholarship and apply to the school afterwards. Okay, because the application window is very short, but then you don't necessarily have to put in there if you have gotten admission or not. Okay, there's a slot for you if you have an admission from a university in the UK. There's a slot that you could enter that over there. That, okay, you have secured an admission, and then you are waiting for Chevening, all right? Or there's a place that you could just select you have not applied for the university yet. Then there's a place that you could select you have applied but have gotten a conditional offer. So those three slots are there. You've not applied, you've applied and then secured a conditional offer, and then you have applied and secured an unconditional offer. So those three slots are over there. But then since now the application window has closed, this is what I would advise. Look for the school, apply for the school now, secure the admission towards September intake, and then when the Chevening scholarship window opens, then you apply for the Chevening scholarship using the admission you have secured already towards the following year. I don't know if it's clear, but this, let me break it down again. Chevening scholarship is going to open next year, 2025, towards 25-26 academic year. This is what our advice. Apply to the schools now. You can secure the admission down. It's okay to defer it to the following year. Most of the UK schools, if you want to defer it to the following year, they will allow you to do that. But you can't defer for more than a year, so it's always just 1 year deferral. So if there are things that you need to do for that university, some universities will require that you have IELTS, some TOEFL and other stuff. So I think TOEFL doesn't really apply to the UK, but IELTS is there. So if there are some conditions you need to meet for the school, this is the time to do all that down. You can secure admission and defer it to the following year. Or you wait till next year and you apply. Okay. So there are two ways to it, but the goal is that as you're applying, you should have the schools you are going to select in mind, because that's what you're going to use to fill the application for Chevening. So you need to have the schools in mind. Applying now or later doesn't really count, but as of the time they're going to nominate you for the interview, which is mostly around February, they'll ask you if you have applied to any of the schools yet. It doesn't really matter at that moment as well, because you have up to June of the year of award to really fill in the schools you are going to. So some of my colleagues like this, they waited until they secured the Chevening scholarship before they even applied to the university. And what they did is that they called the university and let them know that, okay, I've secured a Chevening scholarship, and then I would want an admission. And they offered them admission within that very week or like 2 weeks' time. So it doesn't really matter so much if you apply now or later, but the goal is that know the schools you are going to and then start the process early so that you don't get hooked up in between. For my case like this, for Bournemouth University, I've secured a scholarship like a year and deferred it to this year. So when I was applying for the children's scholarship, I just selected the points that said, yes, I've applied to one of the schools and I've an unconditional offer from Bournemouth University. That's what I selected. Others at the time didn't apply to the school. Okay, so it doesn't really matter. Just have the schools and know what the school is offering and use that to write your essay. After the children's scholarship, then you go back to apply to the school. But just make sure you secure at least one admission among the 3 schools that you have selected. Then the first question you ask, during my previous applications, what I didn't do well, there's a lot of feedback. Okay, sorry about that. So during my first application, I actually didn't pay attention to detail. So I'll say I didn't do due diligence. I didn't follow the way Chevening requires that we write the essay. So like what I mentioned, the STAR approach, I didn't really follow that cleanly. So when I compare my current essays to the previous essays, it's so glaring that I didn't really pay attention to how I'm supposed to structure the essays. So I didn't follow the STAR approach in writing the essays. The other thing is that I didn't sell myself out very well. Okay. I didn't put my best foot forward. That's what I'll say. Okay. So you look at the things that really sells you out there and we'll use that to write the essay. The third thing is that, like I'll say, always make sure there is a coherence between all your essays. Your leadership essay should not be independent from the networking, the career plan, and then the why you are studying in the UK. There should be that kind of linkage between all the essays. In my leadership essay, assuming I'm writing about low number of professionals in Ghana, and that's the reason why we don't have a lot of universities offering medical imaging program, or we don't have a lot of lecturers to train future medical imaging professionals. Assuming that's my story. And then what am I doing about it? As a professional, I've offered myself to be a preceptor at a facility training students. And then I'm coming to the networking. How did I do that? I talk about going to meet a professional somewhere who spoke to me about preceptorship and all that during the networking side. And I come down to the why study in the UK. And I'm talking about coming to Bournemouth University and applying for a course in medical imaging with management so I can get the skills about what advanced knowledge that when I go back, I could impact that knowledge on the future medical imaging professionals growing up in Ghana. Then in my career plan, I'm talking about short term, continue offering the preceptorship from a facility, but my long term is to secure a PhD, then towards getting an academic role to add up to the number of academicians or the lecturers within the academic space to train future medical imaging professionals. So if you see from the beginning, I'm talking about the low number of academics in the schools and the reason why most of the universities are not offering medical imaging programs. And I talk about networking side. I talk about meeting somebody somewhere, initiating a network, and how the person spoke to me about preceptorship. Then while studying in the UK, I'm coming to upskill my knowledge, advanced medical imaging. So when I go back, I'll impact that knowledge in future medical imaging professionals. Then career plan, I'm talking about the midterm, continue that preceptorship, but the long goal is to secure a PhD to add up to the number of academics in the universities. So you see, there should be that kind of linkage between all the essays. They shouldn't be independent of each other. They need to tell a story all along. And that's what I realized that my first essay didn't do. My first essay, I was stating specifics for each of the essays, and that didn't really help. So if you read it, you don't see that kind of coherence between the essays. But the current one, you can see the linkage. And because I followed the STAR approach in writing all of them, I'm able to create a network between each of the essays that I wrote. Okay. Then last one I would say is that when you are filling the application form, even though I said there's a section that you can select, you've applied and you've not gotten admission, or you've not applied at all, or you've applied and then you've gotten unconditional offer, and then you've applied and you got a conditional offer. I will say for the best that you can do for yourself is to select that you've applied, but you've not gotten admission yet. That tells the one reading or reviewing your application that you are putting in effort, you are doing something. Because all those things are marked, they are given an award or a mark to it. If you select that you've applied and then you've not gotten admission, there's a mark to it. If you state that you've not applied at all, there's a mark to it. So when they're collating your entire mark, they'll look at the rating to even consider your application for the second reviewing. Okay, so let's put all those things over there as you are filling the application form. But just remember that there should always be coherence between your essays and then follow the STAR approach when you're writing. Put your best foot forward and make sure you sell yourself out well in your essay. Okay. I don't know if that answers your question, actually.
Yes, it does. It does. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you so much, Sir Wisdom, for that.
Kingsley, you have your hand
wonderful
up.
information. Okay, yes, but okay, before Kingsley speaks, I think there's a question in the chat box.
Yeah.
Okay, still from Chijioke. Okay, it says what English proficiency tests does or is Chevening keen on, or do they, will I say, what English proficiency tests do they like recognize,
Yeah.
in when applying for Chevening scholarships? Yeah.
I would say Chevening doesn't really bother about your English proficiency. They don't have any relationship with English proficiency. So if you're talking about applying for Chevening, don't think so much about your English proficiency. But it could be bent on your university. If your university requests for that, then you'd have to provide it to them. But if your university waives that option, then you don't have to worry about any of the English proficiency tests at all. In my case like this, my university doesn't request for that. Okay, I think last year and this year they actually requested for it. But then if you have somebody from Ghana, Nigeria, and some other English-speaking countries, you could provide a proof from your university to that. So you write to them in an email stating you have studied all your life in English, and then you are even currently working, and your major language of communication between yourself and other professionals and patients is English, and then you have a proof from university to that effect, they will waive it for you. So you don't have to worry about English proficiency in that regard. But some universities will actually require that you provide it. And then that's between the university and yourself, but not of Chevening. So Chevening has nothing to do with English proficiency. All right.
All right. All right. Thank you so much for that. Okay. Mr. Kingsley, can you kindly unmute your mic and ask your question?
All right. Good evening, Mr. Wisdom, and thank you for the wonderful insights you have given so far. My question actually is concerning identifying a problem and then showcasing a leadership skill. I want to know, because I've been wondering, right from the very first meeting we had on this, we've been hearing of identifying a problem and then showing a leadership skill in writing your essay, your personal statement, and then statement of purpose and all that. So I want to know, if one should identify a problem or write on a leadership skill or role, is there any request for a proof to show that, okay, you have actually done this, or you have actually served or volunteered in this capacity and all that? Thank you. I don't know if you understand the question, sir.
Yeah, okay, let me see if I can answer to the best of my understanding of the question. So in terms of identifying a problem, that'll be based on yourself. You need to look at your environment, your surrounding, your professional body, generally your country. What are the things lacking? Do some kind of self-assessment of the situation. Find out what you as an individual can contribute to that problem. It doesn't have to be a very big problem. You don't need a big problem to solve. It could be as little as an issue within your department and how that translates to a national issue. Okay. So in terms of identifying a problem, in my case, like this, how did I identify a problem? I decided to go far away from my town to the northern side of Ghana to go and do my national service over there. During my national service, I realized that there are lots of people that come from very rural areas to the central town or the capital of that region to just have access to ultrasound services. Now, the government is trying to set up facilities in those places, but it's not upcoming. So how can I, as an individual, contribute to that problem? Or what can I do to solve the problem? And that's why I resorted towards taking my service to the people there. Nobody pays me for it. I do it all by myself. So that is how I've identified a problem, and that is my contribution to it. You see, the contribution is very small. I'm not solving the problem entirely, but I'm contributing in a small way to solving the problem. So you just have to do a self-assessment and see what you can do. And then in terms of proof, I don't know how the Chevening Secretariat assess if what you have said is true or not. But I remember when I went for my interview and I got back to my place of work, I received a call from the embassy stating that there was a personnel from the embassy who is in the northern region of Ghana to do some official duties, and he would want to meet me and see what I've done so far. Other colleagues didn't experience that, but I felt because there were very little number of Chevening scholars in the northern region, he was just trying to get to know people around there that he could affiliate to, that he could have some kind of engagement with. So I took him to the places that I went to, the villages I went to. We had some kind of interactions, and then he promised how the UK government can help to solve some of those problems. And this does not relate to how my scholarship is given. I could have equally sailed through or not sailed through, but that's no relationship with my assessment of the things I've put on paper. That's what I was told. But then I can't really say if that is true or not because I don't work in the secretariat. So try as much as possible to tell the facts as it is on the ground. Sometimes we're trying to massage some of the things we say, which is fair. But then don't kind of extrapolate the thing too much that somebody will read and say, how are you able to do this? Like the person will question what you have done. Okay, so as you're writing, try as much as possible not to kind of blow the thing over that everybody knows, oh, you're obviously lying about this situation, or you're obviously lying about what you have done. Okay, just tell a story, be genuine to yourself, and then, because whatever you do is assuming that whatever leadership role you take, you have something to prove for it. If it can be a social media picture, it could be just anything right up anywhere that they can really attest to it. If I Google your name, I should be able to see something you have done. I should be able to tell your background. I should be able to tell where you're working currently and then how it relates to your story. Okay. So your footprint, your social media footprint alone can tell a lot. So that's why I always advise people, whatever you do, no matter how small it is, put it out there in a professional way. Let people know your story. Okay. I don't know if that answers your question, Kingsley.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm good.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Wisdom, for
Sorry,
that.
I just saw this why I want to really address it.
Okay.
Yang
Okay.
says, do they cover all visa processing costs, and can host or anyone recommend a free arts learning materials online? Okay, for the learning materials, I can't really recommend any, but yes, they cover all your visa processing costs, including some countries they do TB tests, some countries do other tests. They cover all that. They will refund all those monies to you. So yeah, they cover all that. There's
Okay.
another one
There's
says,
another
apply
question.
for the
Yeah.
scholarship and get selected but didn't get an admission. Do you lose a scholarship? Yes, please. If you don't get at least an admission letter from any of the schools, the 3 schools you apply to, your scholarship is nullified. You would not be awarded a scholarship. So in as much as you're applying to secure the scholarship, like I say, you can try reaching out to the school, secure the admission. If the time is not up, you can equally defer it either way around. But as of the time that you are being awarded a scholarship, you should have one unconditional offer from any of the 3 universities you've applied to. Okay.
All right. Thank you so
Sorry,
much, Sir
sorry,
Wisdom.
I want to
So
say
we also
something.
have
Please,
okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
please,
Chijioke.
why for young, please, reach out on WhatsApp. So there's this link I found on LinkedIn, right? It was posted by all these scholarship people on LinkedIn. So it has a link to all these professional exam, IELTS and the rest of it, interviews and the rest. So I just saved the link on my Gmail for future purposes. So you reach out on our WhatsApp platform, and I will share the link to you.
That's great.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Chijioke, for that. So, Fortune Okeze has his hands up. So, Mr. Fortune, can you kindly unmute your mic and ask your question?
Good evening. Thank you very much
Good
for the
evening.
opportunity to join this space. It has been impactful so far. Okay, quick question, Mr. Wisdom. I think I joined late, so I was not there when you explained the star approach. If you can explain again, let me get it, I guess.
Please come again.
You mentioned star approach. We should use the star approach. I don't know if I heard clearly. I've not joined when you explained the approach, the star approach. So maybe you can.
All right. So the star approach is basically talking about how to craft your essay or your write-up in a way that people can really relate to. Okay. So it's just something to really guide your writing. And like I explained, it's an acronym for a number of words. So the S in the star stands for situation. So you would want to know in what situation, or have you identified a situation, a problem? Okay. Then if you have identified that problem, then the T in the star comes in. The task, that's what the task in. What is supposed to be done about that situation? What is supposed to be done to keep that situation or address that situation? Or what do you think could be done to address that situation? All right. Then the A in the star comes where the action begins. You as an individual or a group, a volunteering group, a community, professional body, as an individual over there, what did you do about that situation? Okay, so situation, you have identified the situation. There's a task, there's something to be done about that situation. The action is that, what have you done about the situation? Tell us what you have done about the situation. Then the R comes in, is the results. You need to tell us the results from that action you have taken. It doesn't necessarily have to be a good or bad, a good result. It could be a bad result, but you just need to tell us what was the outcome. What have you learned from it? Or what impact has that action of yours been? Okay. So that's basically about the star approach. And there are so many other approaches to writing, but most of the time, Chevening will require that you use the star approach, even though you can use other ones, because the star approach is a bit simpler and shorter. And because you are required to give at least 2 examples under each of the themes you're writing under, it's good to just follow the star approach. Talk about situation I've identified. So during my year of working at this place, there was this situation, you talk about the situation, then you talk about what needs to be done about the situation, what is supposed to address that situation, and then you talk about what you have done as an individual. Remember, whenever you're writing in the essay, you should write in the first person. I have done this. I've connected with this person. I've done, like, you use the I a lot, not we. Because the moment you use we, you're not personalizing your essay. So it looks as though you've not really taken up that leadership role you've communicated. So you talk about what you as an individual have done. So all your essays should be, I have done, I have done, I have done. Not we. Then don't ever use we. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for
Thank you
that
so
one.
much.
So all right. We also have another question in the comment box. So it says, okay, hello, I have a question. Is it possible to get an internal as well as an external scholarship? I don't know if you got that question right.
Yeah, it's possible, but you'll not be
All right.
awarded the two. So if
Okay.
Chevening is awarding a Chevening scholarship,
Doreen, I don't know if that answers your question,
yeah, so I think if I explain,
but that question was coming from.
You can't secure a Chevening scholarship and then secure another scholarship. One of them will be notified anyway. If they get to know, it will be conflicting. So definitely you'd be asked to withdraw. So in my case, Bournemouth University gave me a vice chancellor's scholarship before I was awarded the Chevening scholarship. And because that happened, part of the chancellor's scholarship was awarded to Chevening to take care of my tuition fee. So it's as though Bournemouth University is contributing to my tuition fee here. as Chevening is taking care of the rest of that tuition fee and then my other expenses. But then you can't have two scholarships at the same time. Definitely one will be nullified. Doreen, does that answer your question actually?
Okay. One more question. It says, Sir Wise, how do I reach you? So how do we reach you, sir? For further questions and inquiries.
Yeah, it's very easy to just search my name on LinkedIn, the same name with Mensa. Search me on LinkedIn, send me a connect, and then I'm very active there, actually active than WhatsApp or any other medium. So the moment you send me a text over there, and I'll just respond, I'll connect, and then we can have any conversation you want to.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Let me kindly go through the chat box and be sure I'm not missing out any questions. Okay. Also, we have a hand up. Mr. Dekule Jubril, can you kindly unmute and ask your question?
So my question is that is there any WhatsApp group like we can link up for any further questions or any further maybe just networking?
Okay, yeah, sure. We have our community live on LinkedIn and on WhatsApp. Yeah, so we share updates. It's a community where we want, like, okay, incubate and have radiographers and like-minded persons on to like share opportunities, and also have this kind of webinar sessions more often. So yeah, I don't know how we're going to like add you up on our WhatsApp. Mr. Chijioke, I don't know, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. So what is going to happen? We've actually
Yeah.
closed responses because we opened the Google form for response, whereby people fill the Google form and they get admitted directly. So what's going to happen is that you can send me a message or a connection request on LinkedIn, then send me a message, and then I will send you the group link there.
All
Or
right. Thank you so much.
email us. You can email us. Our email is on the flyer. You can send the mail. We'll send the WhatsApp link to you too.
Okay,
Either
okay.
way. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Another hand is up. Mr. Ahmed, can you kindly unmute and speak?
Okay, good evening to you all, and then thank you, Mr. Wisdom Mensa, for your time and then the insights and the knowledge that you've shared with us, and I'm grateful for that. But the question I have that I want to ask is that you mentioned that usually they ask for some leadership roles that you've carried out, or things that you've carried out that describe you as a leader. So what I want to find out is that, does it really matter the duration in which maybe you've carried out that leadership role, or the time? Let's say, like, now that you shared with us what I have to what's the name, the requirement, what I need to have before I will apply. Let's say from now I decided to carry out some leadership role towards applying next year. Will it affect my what's an application? I don't know, like looking at the time, maybe they might say, okay, it's because I was going to apply for the scholarship. That's why I decided to take up that leadership role or something. Does it really affect it? And then another thing I want to ask is the conditional and unconditional offers that you talked about. What are those?
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for the question. So I'll address the first one. It doesn't really matter the duration, actually. It doesn't really matter. As far as you're able to detail what you have done within that short period, you're able to tell us the results from that leadership role you have taken, I think that should be more than enough. So basically, if it's just 2 months to the application window, and then you have taken a leadership role, it doesn't mean you can't put it out there. You can still put it, but just tell us what the result is from that. Okay, it could be good, it could be bad, but just tell the results and then what you have So assuming it's a bad result, then you could link it to that because you're not having the right skills, the right knowledge, and that's why probably you couldn't succeed in that. And that's the reason why if Chevening gives you the opportunity to come and study in the UK, then you're able to acquire new knowledge, come back and then be able to resolve that issue. I don't know if you see the link there. So if it's a good result, then that puts up to your leadership powers. But then if it's a bad one, you just have to you have to be creative by yourself. Create that link over there. Because you're not having the right skills and knowledge, you couldn't do that. And that's why if Chevening give you the opportunity, you could be able to harness new skills and knowledge, you could be able to address that issue. If it's a good one, then you talk about it, then you have a link that if Chevening gives you the opportunity, you're able to gain more knowledge and then insight from this program you're applying for from the UK, and then be able to advance upon those issues you're addressing. Okay, so it's just about how you create a link between how you write a story. Always from each of the essays you write, make sure you create that link about how Chevening is going to benefit you or give you some kind of leverage when you come to study in the UK. Okay, always create that network or that kind of link between what you are writing and then the role of Chevening in addressing that issue. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Wisdom, for that.
You're welcome.
Please, the second part of my question is like you didn't talk about that.
Yeah, sorry. So about the conditional and unconditional offer. So if you apply to any university, either in the UK or anywhere, you're either denied the admission or you are given a conditional offer or unconditional. The conditional is that you have not met all the requirements for a full admission offer to be given out to you. So it could be that maybe you didn't meet the English proficiency. It could be that you didn't present a reference letter from an academic, or it could be there's something you didn't do right. So they are giving you the offer, but it's conditional based on you addressing those issues they've highlighted in the offer they've given to you. The unconditional is that you have merited all the conditions and then you have been given a full admission for you to enroll. Okay, so those are the two things. Some of the universities, they will give you a conditional offer provided you're able to pay a deposit of your fees. Some of them, you don't have to pay a deposit, so they'll give you a full admission offer. So it depends on the university you're applying to and then what the conditions are over there. But this is the difference. There's conditional, you have not met all the conditions. Unconditional, you've met all the conditions and therefore you have been awarded a full admission.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for that explanation. And thank you, Mr. Ahmed, for that wonderful question as well. So, okay. Okay, Mr. Fortune, your hand's up. So can we hear your question?
So for the volunteering, there are not many volunteering opportunities for medical imaging, at least to my knowledge.
I don't know if you got that. Like, can you kindly speak up, Mr. Fortune?
Yeah.
I said I have been involved in volunteering with public health since I've not seen opportunities to volunteer in medical imaging. So for public health, like cancer awareness and other things. So I don't know if it will count since you said we have to volunteer within our field or something. I think that's what I heard you say.
Yeah, so not necessarily just our field, but it should be a related field. So like you said, public health, we still fall within public health. All right. And you advocating for cancer awareness is still within our profession because we deal with a lot of cancer issues. So it's still within, yeah, we are in the right place. Just assuming you are in medical imaging, you are within the health landscape, okay, you are within medicine or healthcare. And then you're advocating for what I'm not able to pinpoint. Maybe agriculture, probably. Maybe something agriculture, which is very good. But I don't know how you're going to relate in writing your AC. I don't know how you're going to relate that to what you're applying for in the future. Unless the school you're applying to and the program you're applying to have that kind of relationship between medical imaging and then agriculture, then you could really make a point, okay. But then it doesn't mean when you don't have any other example to give in terms of your leadership and volunteering, you can't use that. It doesn't mean so. But I'm only saying that you put your best foot forward. You use an example that really resonates with what you're applying for. Okay. That's what I really want to put across. Okay. And then if you don't have any volunteer group or NGO that you could volunteer for, you could create one by yourself. All right. You could always create one by yourself. You just need to put your colleagues together and address a small issue somewhere. You guys could just name it a volunteer group or give a title to it. And that's what you'll be doing going forward. You're looking forward to recruiting more people on board to be solving that issue in series. Okay. So if you don't have a bigger organization, you could, the fact that you are even able to create one for yourself speaks to your leadership skills. All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much for that wonderful explanation. Yeah, and okay. I don't know. Well, it's few minutes to 9 over here. So I don't know if we could be heading to the end of this space. So personally, I I am so grateful to be here. Personally, I'm so grateful to be here and to be a part of this session. I have my notepad filled up with like lots of insights, and I'm really prepared to start, shooting my shots at, the Chevening and scholarship programs. Yeah. So okay. At this point, I will be handing over the mic to Chijioke to give us a vote of thanks. So thank you so much, Mr. Wisdom, for bringing out time to come and tell us a part of your story, and gain, yeah, also afford us that opportunity to gain insights from your story. Thank you so much, Mr. Wisdom.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I'm grateful as well.
So Mr. Chijioke, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. Sandra, are you still on call? Are you online? Hello, Sandra. Okay, I think she's not online, so I will do the vote of thanks on her behalf. So first off, today is the ending part of this webinar. It's been back and forth, right? It's been planning, replanning, structuring dates. And first, I want to thank on every one of the speakers, starting from the first speaker to the second speaker, although they are not here, and you too, Mr. Wisdom. It's not easy, despite your busy schedules. I mean, you're still a scholar, so you have a lot on your plate to make out time for this, and also for joining previous sections too, because I cited you in our previous sections. It shows that you are actually very willing to impact, and your impact was actually felt this night. Right? I believe I'm not just speaking for myself, I'm speaking for everyone too. So we thank you very much. And also we thank the organizers of this opportunity, the Africans and Radiography Scholars and Professional Network, the ARSPN. I mean, we are on LinkedIn, and we are also on WhatsApp, right? And we thank the people that hosted this event, the moderator, Mr. Favor, and also Miss Sandra, for the teamwork and effort. It was not easy. I mean, different time zones, scheduling meetings, even calls at night. So I'm glad that at the end it was a success. And the most important thing is not just what is being learned, it's also to put it and in practice, it's also to work towards it. I mean, knowledge without execution does not have any effect. So I wish each and every one of us, as we take on in our medical imaging endeavors, to try to put these things into practice, try to put ourselves out there, and also try to leverage these opportunities too. So with that, I think we've come to the end of Imaging Frontiers 1.0, and we are hoping for 2.0. We are hoping for 3.0. We have many things in store, And as we move, we will unravel them. Thank you very much, Mr. Wisdom. Thank you very much to my planners, Mr. Favor and Miss Sandra. And thank you everyone that participated from the first even to this last day. And thank you. And good night.
You're welcome. And then let me just add a bit. Please, you all to do as much as you can to network with other professionals that are scholars, not just Chevening scholars, but any other scholars that you know, because they may be sometimes be sharing some of these opportunities that may come from other scholarships that maybe you're not aware about, or maybe you don't necessarily have to just be a Chevening scholar doing your master's. There are other PhD scholarships that come around almost all the time. So as you're looking at getting or being part of Chevening or Erasmus Modules or Commonwealth Shared, look forward to other opportunities as well. Because I know a couple of people that secured straight PhD offers without necessarily going through the masters. So let's be looking out for some of those things. Be active on LinkedIn, follow the right people, and then engage with them. All right.
Thank you very much for that insight, sir. Thank you very much.
Well,
Yeah, I think at this juncture we've come to the end of this meeting, and the recordings are available, but it's going to take a bit time because we need to do a little bit of editing. So from the first, second, and last section, the recordings will be available probably before the year runs out. We'll make it available on the platform. And also, Mr. Wisdom, I'll be reaching out to you via your slides too, so that you could share. Thank you very much, sir.
you're
Thank
welcome,
you,
sir.
everyone.